Good morning, everyone, and thanks for waking up with me on Up with India. Today, I'll be joined by Ladaye Cooley Johnson, the founder of Cool Shoes, Inc. His organization provides free resources and items for economically disadvantaged youth and their families in Wilmington, Delaware. Very happy to have him on the show. Welcome, Cooley. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing today?
I'm great. Cooley is so relaxed right now having this conversation because he's not just someone that I know that has received distinguished awards, but he's also a friend of mine in the community. So I appreciate you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
So let's get into things. Heavy is the head that holds the crown. That's the saying that is quoted. And you just received your medal for the work that you've done in the community. Before we get into all of that and all the great things that you have going on, Cooley, take me back a little bit and talk to me about growing up on the east side of Wilmington, Delaware, and kind of how the inspiration for the work that you started began.
Well, like I tell people, and I tell people all the time, they just look at the social networks, what they see. Me, I'm like I always tell people, and I'm glad you asked that. I'm gonna tell the truth. I'm gonna tell the whole story.
Right.
Like growing up over there, Dad, we really came from. Dad walked out on me. I was about 10 years old, about 19 years old. Walked out on me 1994, 26 years ago. And struggling. My mom, single mom. She working to make ends meet. And growing up on the east side, right on Knife and Clifford Brown walked down, but it was Knife and Poplar, and which is one of the biggest. Me was the biggest drug area, in Wilmington, Delaware. And, just being out there and seeing guys out there, at the time, you thinking fast money was it. They getting all the fast money, getting all the girls. I'm like, man, I want to be a drug dealer. Then they making $10,000-$15,000 a week. I'm like, yo, I can be doing that helping my mom. But they always told me they seen something in me that, and I respect them to this day. Yo, get away from her. This ain't you. Here goes some money. Go get away, man. And the way I look at it, help my mom's situation out. Them being there because I played basketball, kept me and my friends away. They giving us, a couple $100 buying us sneaks, buying us clothes. And it took like a lot of load off my mom back, especially now my dad not being there. And they became like the father figures and the big brothers and the mentors. And also, was able to had a coach named Leon Robinson from the Salvation Army, and Alexis Nichols. They was there. So just going on the east side, that was the biggest part right there. Is where it started. And I tell people that's where the cool shoes like kind of came from. Well, that's where it came from because that's how I look at it. Because for them being there for me, being able to give, make sure me and my friends had. I said I gotta give. I want to come back and be able to give back, but in a different way. I wasn't built for the street, and I just took it to a different level.
And that level has allowed you to expand, your reach outside of Delaware. Again, you're getting ready to hopefully be nominated for a national Jefferson Awards, which is just crazy to me, considering where you come from. I mean, when we look at the communities that are disadvantaged, they are the east side, they are the west side of the world. We're seeing now on, social media, more people talking about the types of situations that a lot of youth are getting themselves into as far as gun violence and drugs goes. What does it take to keep a young person, motivated or to stay on the right track, so that they can have a success story like a Ladaye Cooley Johnson?
See, what it takes is that times is like different. So like technically, like I did win the national award. The drawing was Thursday.
Nice,
So
congratulations.
it actually did win. It was
Congratulations.
Thursday. So
That's awesome.
I had a couple had a couple kids already. Like, yo, man, they expired. So me is that's why I was like tell the story you gotta tell because when I go talk to kids and I tell them and they go back to their home, they're like, yo, man, they told me you could have been a drug dealer, and I tell you like I got shot at 14 years old. A lot of people don't know it. And that really was an eye opener for me because I had to learn how to walk again, talk again, I had to learn to do all that. And that was really the eye opener. Like, yo, the streets ain't built for me. So I take what I know and what was putting in me and go tell the kids the same story. And when I tell them, yeah, I graduated from college, but you graduated from college, I'm like, yeah, I got a college degree in criminal justice. But they don't know because I don't walk around bragging about it because that's not about that with them. I can relate to them more. And that's why a lot of people say, well, that's why they respect you. because I went through the same, going through the same struggle. And I say we because we still fighting this battle with them. They not by themselves. And that's what I try to tell people. Just because it ain't affecting you, but if it's not affecting you, you don't care. You don't care. And when I say that, that goes over people's head. Well, it ain't my son. That's the problem. You don't care. Like, just get away from me. So I go and I get away from the social network. I tell them about the thing they didn't see. Yes, I was a high school dropout. It ain't never too late. So first thing they come to me and talk to me about, that's what I tell them. I don't tell them about what they see on social network. I'm gonna tell you, yeah, I once was young. Yes, I wanted to sell drugs. Yes, I wanted to be a street person. Yes, I was a high school dropout. Yes, I got shot and I thought that was cool. You gotta tell them that. You can't lie. You can't sugarcoat and try to be something different to these kids because these kids not dumb these days. They know they respect what's real and fake, and that's the problem what's going on. We got so many people trying to be something that they ain't, and they not keeping it real with these kids. And you got to keep it real. And that's what at the end of the day you can't. And that's what I was blessed with. Me and my friends, my old heads kept it real with us. They didn't really want to do that, but at the time they had to do to make their ends meet. And when they got a chance to get out, they got a chance to get out. Now they blessed, got good jobs and all that. But they kept it real, and that's the thing is you gotta tell these kids. I know I wasn't built for the streets. My favorite saying is it's the difference between the sidewalks and the streets. And I try to tell the kids, man, stay on the sidewalk. Nobody's built for that street. Like people gonna respect you. This is most of you being yourself, then you trying to be a follower and get in the streets. And it wasn't be the followers, it always happens to them. And that's what's going on right now.
And frankly, you know, they're really looking for leadership. They're looking to people that do come from their community like yourself, that they can say like, okay, there is another way out. I watch Facebook a lot in the timelines, and there's always people, talking about the gun violence problem, talking about what the kids are going through, but very rarely do they talk about the organizations that are actually doing the work to combat a lot of this. And your organization is one of them. Why do you think people are so focused on only the negative aspects of what is going on and not highlighting people like you enough?
End of the day, right? And when it gets to social networks, I'm gonna keep it real. People doing it for likes, attention, and likes. I'm gonna be honest with you. People just want to hear themselves talk, to see how many comments to get and get so many likes. I'm at the point now. I tell everybody, miss me with that. Get out here in these trenches. I'm out here. Get out here. If you want to make a change, get out here. All that other stuff you want to put on social networks for likes, I tell people all the time, miss me with that. Because y'all be the same people get on here and talk, but there's nowhere to be found. It's nowhere. And that's why I tell people. I mean, and I tell this from people at the end of the day, what's going on too is the resources is limited. And point blank here, everybody know how I feel about politics and these people here. I don't like those people. I don't care, and I make it clear. Because it ain't all your fault, but y'all 50% to blame. Because politicians and the mayor, they got their own agenda, and the community and youth are not their agenda. End of the day. And I look at it is what they're trying to get out of it, what they can put in their pockets and make sure their people's all right. They don't care about it. That's another problem we fight.
Yeah. One of the ways that you've been really active in the community, which is the main way that you've been active, is your community giveaway events. When you did that really big Christmas giveaway, I remember that was probably the last time that me and you did an interview. Talk to me about that moment, and putting that project together to help the community. Again, you've done it so many times, but kind of talk to me about what goes into that, because one of the things that you just said was that there's limited resources, but some way, somehow, you're always able to make it happen at the end of the day. 19,000 toys given away, turkeys, you name it, Easter egg hunts. Let's start with that Christmas event that you did. I think that was what, 2018 or 2019. Talk to me about the work that goes into something like that happening.
That was a 2018 one.
Yeah.
So you always, one thing when you get to what I always notice, and like I said, I guess because I was blessed to have, the support and all that. And when you look at it is holiday time, that's when things really hit, especially Christmas. You got a lot of single moms who got 3, 4 kids, so it's really hard. She's trying to make Christmas meet, to try to put smiles on her kid faces. So that year, actually, I'm gonna go back the year before that. It was 2017, and that was the last one I did on 9th Street. That's when it got really too big. And to me, you really laugh, but a lot of people laugh. Everybody say the first year I did it to you, The first year we did it out of church, that was the year you came. We did what 11,000 tours, 200 bikes. The last year we did 15,000 tours and about 100 bikes. We cut back on the bikes and did more tours. But I say you great laugh, but the 2017 one will always be the best one to me. And I had this argument with people all the time. And it's like, well, how was that? And let me tell you why that one touches me the most. And you probably remember that's the picture where I'm leaning against the gate when all the kids are in line.
Yes, yes.
And that's when it hit me. The one down in church in 2018 didn't hit me. The 2017 is the one that touched me the most.
Mm.
Because
Why
I
so?
look, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because to sit there to be able to have over 2,000 kids on the same neighborhood, the same block that helped save your life, and you
Mm,
able to give back right there,
mm,
that's what makes that one. I mean, we did the previous. Let me see. That was year 7. Yeah, that was year 7 because it's going to be the 10th annual right here. That was year 7. In the previous 6 years, you're like, yeah, but that one right there, it touched me. Like, hey, we have really arrived. Like, we have arrived. We're not only touching the city, we're touching the state because we had all different cultures come. It was people showing me their address. They came from Newark. Some people came from Dover. Like, I had some people come from Philly, literally came from Chester and Philly that year. And I said, hey, we have arrived. And before we move it, because we know it's got too big, it touched me like we're gonna end it with a bang. And this is I look at that picture every day, and that's the best picture I ever took in life. And to sit there and watch, I'm like, what we did about 8,000 toys. We did about 7,000, 7,500 toys, about 35 bikes, scooters. And I said, yo, this is it. Now, that toy drive one, when I said 10,000 toys, at the time, I'm like, I think we pushing it this year.
right.
And I'm like 200 bikes, but I'm like, I'm going to people, and and I'm not being. I'm like, hey, we never to this day we still haven't got no funding, no grants, but hey, man, we got to make it happen for these babies. Listen, this is what we're gonna do X, Y, Z. We got to make it happen. So what happened was, what really made it happen was a friend of mine worked at Walmart. I always dealt with Walmart over the years because that's where I get the turkeys from. So she was like, hey, you know, we get stuck with a lot of bikes. And this may sound crazy. You think bikes that you sell most of their bikes over Christmas? She was like, no, the bikes only really sell around Easter time and the springtime. Summer that's when people ride bikes.
Right.
So she was like, hey, listen, since what you doing, write up a letter, boom, boom. So she's like, hey, look, I can get you almost 200 bikes for this price. I said, for real? I said, okay, we got that. So, as you getting the toys and stuff. So like the day before, I go pick up the bikes and we looking at all the toys. I got the toys scattered at like 15 different garages because there's so many toys, getting the toys. And I'm like, yo, man. So me and the team, we sitting there and we sorting stuff and like, what are you counting? I'm like, we got it. And to actually see that, okay, the one on next year, but actually to see that picture, I look at that picture too, we like got 200 bikes and you had lines going way around the corner. I was like, yeah, and it was kind of special because you like, this and that, just to be able to see once you get over 2,000 kids, some get a bike and 4 or 5 toys, just to hear the parents say, hey, Mr. Cool, you just made my kids' Christmas even better. Because I was only able, to get them some clothes to sleep. I was only able to get them 5 toys. So now my parent, and I never looked at it until a couple of parents broke it down. Like, hey, I'm a mother of 4. So if I got my kids 2 pair of sneaks, some clothes, and a coat already, and was able to get them 5 toys each, now you don't put an extra 5 more toys to it. So how does that look to a mom? Look under her, she got 4 kids. That's about 50, 60 toys under there. Couple on them, they got bikes now. That's what really motivates you to keep you going. And anybody tell you, I don't like the attention. Because I don't do it for that. I don't,
Right.
anybody tells you, like, I mean, I understand when it comes with it, but I just don't like it. And it's like, still to this day, you got people talking, hey, man, is there anything I can give you? No, I don't do it for that. No. And it's just like, you got some parents like, hey, I remember a couple years when I was struggling, you was there. So, you get a couple of them that come back to donate. That's the whole sweet thing of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not easy being able to bring people together in a way where they want to, continuously support. because sometimes people fall off, you know what I mean? But it's a great thing that you're able to retain, those that you have helped to come back and still give more. What's the biggest thing that you feel like you've learned throughout your journey in this sector, this nonprofit sector? Like, what have you learned about giving back? What are some things that you're taking with you this year to do things even bigger or better?
Well, it's actually crazy, right? I'm not a nonprofit. That's the crazy thing.
Right.
I'm
I know
not. So look,
you are an individual business, but you.
yeah, when I tell people, so that's it. But what you get out of every year, and it used to get to me, but I guess you know, I learned how to handle it. Is I sit back and I watch the people that's in position that don't help. That don't help. Like, how can you be in a better position and you see? I don't say I say we because I got people to help. You can't do it by yourself. We scratching and crawling, to put some out. And at the snap of a finger, light of a switch, you can be that person to help make a difference. And you don't help. So I had to get away from that. And what I'm learning is, you know, what keeps me going is more and more people starting to get along, come along. Hey, I want to help. I want to help. So my whole thing is once I got away from the people that's in position not helping, and that's my biggest thing. I battle myself every day. You got to keep going. So you can't just so that's how I got to make it bigger and better. Hey, we're gonna go on without them. This one we're gonna focus on. I'm gonna go to them, and this look whatever you get. End of the day, no donation is too small.
Have you had
That's
to
what I go with.
have you had to tweak your mission in any way? Has there been things that you've now added to the work that you do that you weren't doing in the beginning?
Yeah, I not really tweaked it because I mean I always add because I always be coming with ideas to try to make it bigger and better. Try to like come up with things like prime example a couple weeks ago we did the and they like yo this is probably the biggest. It wasn't that big, but some people like at the time was going on when I did the tablet giveaway. I think like that was tweak something like never thought about that never, but I'm like what's going on right now with the virtual learning, the school and stuff. You had to come up with something. I know like for prime example like and this way you say tweak it, you got to tweak it. Usually we just do book bags, book bags and supplies, but you had to add a tab this year because of what's going on. So when you say tweak, yeah, that's like right, like tweak that because I'm gonna find out like if there's a parent in there and she got 3 kids, they only give it one tablet or one laptop per house. So here it is, you got a parent with 3 kids and you tell them all they got to work off one tablet and the work got to be done by 7 o'clock. Oh, here we go. Now let's come up with this idea. Now the parents that one like, hey, you just help me out because now I got 2 kids. Now I got one. I got two now. And the tablets came with the keyboard. And then the parents call me like, hey, thank you. I was able to download something on there. Now my kids able to do the work. So little things here we tweak there. Like you got to sometimes think about on the fly.
Right.
So that's like we say tweak every time we coming up with something.
One thing that you touched on when you were speaking earlier, you were again talking about the fact that there's families that otherwise would not be able to afford some of the items and the gifts that you give away. And, it only makes me think about a conversation that I had with someone just the other day. And we were talking about the fact that uh, violence and gun violence, things like that, don't just come out of nowhere. It's born out of poverty. It's born out of people feeling like they have to get out here and do something that they may not even necessarily want to do to be able to obtain the things that they got. So it's a big deal that you have the platform that you have to be able to. I feel like curb a lot of those instances where somebody would have to do something they don't want to do to get what they want. So with everything going on in the world, the pandemic as well, again, you talked about the technology divide of families not being able to have access to computers, but you did do a summer camp. Talk to me about the summer youth camp that you had this summer, and how that experience was for the youth.
Well, it was kind of really down. This year was really because, like you said, with the pandemic going on. So usually I get about 110 kids a year every summer. But see, with the pandemic thing going on, we still had to get. We still have about 60 kids. But one of the kind of the hard thing was that we had to adjust on the fly was every Friday was going on trips, but we really couldn't, everything was closed. So it was like we had to come up with like different things to keep the kids, up busy. So like this year, like we always do it, but this year was really felt more because we spent more time like, we're in a summer camp. And once again, like I tell people think, I always say this, like they try to compare me to the YMCA's and the West End. You can't, because I don't get the $1 million grants they get. I don't get nothing. It's out of pocket. The money I get, it, I mean, I could be able to get purchase gear, but I would never see the money that I'm supposed to be like they do, because the money I do get, I'm putting it right back in. And which ain't about no money, because it's about these kids being on the streets, and long as I know they with me for 12 hours a day, they happy having fun.
Do you apply for grants, or is this just things that you're not receiving them, you're not winning them?
It's
What is
just it's just, nah, it's just they try to get you to run around, but I don't let it discourage you. You understand what I'm saying? Like, end of the day, they try to tell you gotta be a nonprofit to get a grant. End of the day, as long as you got an EIN number, it's the same thing. Having a nonprofit is a tax write-off. Having a business is a tax write-off. End of the day, it's taxes at the end of the day. But I think, let me tell you what I really think it is, I'm gonna tell you what I really think it is, and I'm gonna be honest. It's a young black man that's doing your job that's not gonna cater to you. I'm not kissing nobody, but excuse me, but I'm not. And what I'm learning about people is if they feel that like they can't be in control or you do it their way, they want to stay away. You understand what I'm saying? And end of the day, it's not about us. These babies need help now, and you can't get discouraged. So it's a rumble that we're gonna keep fighting, like I keep saying. And eventually, I say it to myself every day: a door gonna open. A door's gonna open. The $1 million, all that's gonna come. And that's my thing. I think about it every day. And my whole thing is, and I always go back to my old heads. They never gave up. They never turned their back on me. They kept fighting. They kept fighting. And they always said to me, and look how you turned out. And like I said, about 10 of them all blessed. They got jobs making $100,000 a year. They all came to them. You understand what I'm saying? So like that. And that's how I go about it. And yeah, so about the summer camp. So it was different this year, but it was different, but I think it was the best one. Like we did like culinary arts week, where on Monday, I can tell you where everything did that Monday, the kids made breakfast for lunch. They made eggs, potatoes, bacon, they had waffles, they had sausage. Then Tuesday we did Taco Tuesday. Wednesday they made ground beef hamburger patties and French fries themselves. Then Thursday was chicken Alfredo, the broccoli, and all that. And then that Friday I had to do the dinner dance. Like some people cater the food, and we had a real dinner dance where all the boys had to wear a collar shirt and stuff, all the young ladies had to wear dresses. And we had like a real dinner dance, had a candy table decorated, and it turned out nice. The parents came. We did career week where we had like over 20 different guest speakers come in. We had the Wilmington firefighters, we had the Wilmington Police Department, Robert Wright and them come in. We had the principal from the Skyline, Miss Monique is. We had Douglas Tuffy come in. Probably know Doug that worked at Coomber. We had them come in. We had had the state troopers come in. We had all types of different people come in. We had business owners of daycare. We had, all types, bank accounts. Accountants come in. So we touched on all different, phases. The kids loved that. We did that. We had science week where they did different projects. We did rockets. They had fun. We did all different, made rockets, did all different things. We did a thing called Celebrity Week where all the kids picked a celebrity, had to write about it. Like each group was like a group of 4 or 5, and they got up and did a presentation. So, every week we was coming up, we was doing different things. We were able to go on some trips during the year. We went to Great Adventures, Thorny Park, Hershey Park, Fun Place. So we did different things, but I had a lot of people reach out and was like, man, what y'all doing with those kids over that camp? That's not an ordinary camp. Y'all doing different things over there. Like, that's not a camp. Cool. What y'all teaching them kids over there is life skills, man. Like them kids ain't gonna want to go nowhere else and that's why I try to tell you we do more with less.
right?
Imagine if I had no disrespect, but imagine if I got the $1 million grants, $1 million loans, or whatever that the Wise and West End got. Man, my kids, we wouldn't even be here. We'd be taking trips to the beaches. We'd be doing real stuff. We will. But I don't worry about that. It's something we're gonna keep going and he having fun. And I think this summer was probably the best year because we had to learn, we had to tweak a lot of things. We had to change a whole lot of things.
You know, a lot of people say representation matters, but I think that representation with authenticity matters to really know who's behind the titles that they hold. Why was it important for you to have certain individuals, like you named the firefighter department, you named the police department? Why was it important for you to have individuals from these different places, even business owners, come back and talk to these kids?
Yeah, we had Toronto, Thorough, Threes, Gash. The reason why I had everybody come in because we all cover the same place, but we all had different stories that led to the same path that we on. So to be able to hear the different stories, so the kids can hear the different stories, but like, hey, because we grew up with a lot of them, we all grew up together, but everybody took different paths. It gives them hope and that they like not to never give up, not to it's always second chance if I messed up. It took me 3 times to get it right. It took me 7 years to graduate college. I didn't want to listen, but you bring those different people in, and then they hear it. And that's what inspires to get them hope. And at the end of the day, it's like, hey man, we know we got people that care because a lot of kids said to me, a lot of my camp kids, I really learned something like why. They say these people took time out of their schedule to come tell us about their life story. And my whole key thing is we wanted to expose kids to different things besides sports. So now you got someone who want to be clothing designer. Now we got someone who want to be want to firefighter. You got a couple who want to be cops. That's the whole purpose of it. We got to expose our kids to different things than just sports.
I saw on your Instagram you posted once you received the medal, and you said usually we only get medals for sport, but this time this was something different. What was that moment like when you were opening up the box, seeing your name, seeing that medal? What was that feeling like?
Let me tell you what it's really like. It's like, and then it's not for me. It's I'm looking at it like, yo, like we here. It's hope. And I had people text me talking about, man, it's people I don't even know that be hitting me on Facebook and they send me deep like, man, you don't know how much you inspire me. I can only get paid every day and just realize it's like people like you that give me hope not to give up. Like, and that's the whole purpose of it. Like, man, this stuff ain't about me. It's about to inspire other people. Give other people hope. That's the whole purpose of it to me.
I noticed that when you are promoting the work, or when I say promoting, kind of just showing the after moments of your event. Oftentimes you tag celebrities like Lala, like Carmelo, and these individuals. Why do you do that? Is it to spread more awareness? Is it for them to know, hey, there's a community here in Wilmington, Delaware that could also utilize your support? Why do you hashtag those names? What is the significance of that?
Well, that's one reason, yeah. But as I first started, got into it. Well, Carmelo Anthony's my favorite player. Everybody knows that. That's my guy, favorite player. But just to watch him, the things he did, like back in Baltimore, went back to his hometown. He built the gym facility. He got a big gym down there. Built the community center. Went back and bought the houses in his neighborhood. Put his friends in position. You know what I'm saying? And he still did. Like he went over to Puerto Rico. He got a basketball court over there. Like that. John Wall does the same thing. T.I. never forget back in the like when I first started. T.I. went to the whole Walmart and just paid for everybody's stuff. And still do it every year. So it's like with them, I keep reaching out. People always say to me like, "Yo, you've been reaching out to them for the last 10 years." Hey, well, I'm gonna keep. End of the day, it's not going. I'm not being smart, but those people in position here, they don't care. I see it's been 10 years. Like, somebody said to me, and they said, "Cool, man, this is what I'm gonna say to you. You got the governor award last year. You get a national award. You got the regional award. But how your own city, the mayor, haven't got you yet? Why?
You don't think you get enough
How is
support
it?
from your city?
I don't get at all. I don't people y'all millionaire and they playing monopoly. His whole focus, no disrespect, is the riverfront and all that. And my thing is end of the day, it makes y'all look crazy. It don't make me look crazy. You know what I'm saying? So maybe if y'all got behind, but the thing is, end of the day, and like I tell you all the time, I'm not catering to you. You're not doing, nah, you're not. I'm not going to do it to try to make you look good and all that. If you care, it be doing it from the heart. But that's what goes on. So people say it to me all the time. It's like, how you ever got these people in their own city have it recognized and all that? And I said that tells you a lot right there. So why worry about it?
What is the
So
responsibility? feel like carrying a lot of this on your shoulders. Essentially you are providing for a lot of families. So I can only imagine, in a household, typically how it's supposed to be looked at is that there's a father, there's a mother, they're the heads of the household, they're responsible for their families. That comes on with that responsibility. But when you have hundreds of families that are now kind of relying on Cool Shoes to continue the work that you do, how does that responsibility weigh on you?
And you know what? And it's crazy you say that, right? Like it's literally like that. It's like I had like parents literally like, hey, listen, I don't rely on nobody but you. I'm tired of going to places to try to get help. So that's what really keep going. Like, man, you know what? It don't carrying a weight. It doesn't bother me. It don't, because I'm like, end of the day, it's nothing to get stressed out for. This we signed up for. I was blessed to be able to get in a position, you know what I mean, to be a platform. And like I tell you, it's crazy. Every year it gets bigger and bigger. And I look at it as that platform is really gonna come where we be able to drop of a dime. Here you go. I know it's coming. So you got families who tell me, like I said, man, at least I know I'm cool with that. Hey, I ain't gotta worry about no school supplies or book bags because I know. All right, cool. That's the whole purpose of Thanksgiving. I know every year it's 600-700 families we're gonna feed. Come on. I tell them, hey, don't worry about the turkey. You understand what I'm saying? And then the toy drives is really I want all kids to feel equal. That's the whole purpose of the toy drive. Everybody getting something on Christmas. Everybody. And that's the best feeling. That ain't nobody. I don't want nobody to feel like they better than nobody on Christmas. So you can say, hey, I got this. A kid can say, I got these toys right here, but you ain't got this. You know what I'm saying? But everybody's equal. Ain't nobody left out. No one man standing. Ain't nobody's left out. Everybody got something. Everybody.
And that's what I really love about you, Cooley. You take the village aspect, it takes a village to raise a child aspect to a whole nother level. And really just making sure that every individual child leaves with a smile on their face. I remember, a couple years ago, volunteering with you and working with those kids, and it's just a feeling that I can't even describe it. So I can't even ask that question. Like, how do you describe what it feels like to see a child's face light up? It's indescribable. But do you ever have any concern still being in the neighborhood and living in the community that you come from, as big as you have now become? Sometimes people chastise rappers and say, you got to be careful, coming back to your hood or your neighborhood and being around, where you're used to and where you're comfortable being, because you could end up being a target. Does that ever cross your mind that, maybe after a little while it's going to be time for me to get up out of here? Or do you plan on staying in this community and going as far as you can?
I'll be honest with you. I tell you what, I'm not turning this back on I'm not gonna turn my back on my community. I believe they ain't turn their back on me. And the same guys that raised me, they still here. They still here. That's the thing. They still here. And we fighting this battle together. They could have up and left me for prime example. If it weren't for them, ain't no telling where I'd be at. I keep that in my mind. And I can't, that's one thing I can't up and do, because at the end of the day, nobody turned their back on me. I don't never think I'm too big for nobody. That's one thing that I never could see myself doing. Somebody thinking things is rough, but one thing I learned, man, eventually the doors will go open. And that's how I look at it. I'm sorry, but I can never see myself turning my back and up and leaving.
You started to talk about it just a little bit. Thanksgiving coming up. I'm already hungry. Can't wait to sit down and eat myself. But there's families that may not, again, have the resources to be able to, have a full 5 course, 4 course dinner, what so have you. What is happening this year for Cool Shoes Thanksgiving giveaway? Is it going to be how it was in the past, or are things going to have to change?
Well, people already asked me, like, you probably got a trick up this, probably got something up your sleeve that you're going to try to do different, right? So, I'm always, so what I really was going to do this year, right, is, as people come get their turkeys, I'm going to add that we got away from it the last couple of years, but I'm going to add the sides back to it. Some families already had the sides, but we're going to get the sides where you get the turkeys. and you get your sides with the mashed potatoes, the yams, the collard greens, the soda. We're gonna definitely bring that back. And some people don't. Some people just be wanting turkey. Some people just come for the sides. So but what I'm thinking about doing is having set up and have a friend of mine, deep fry a couple of turkeys and have somebody cook and stuff. So as they come to get their turkey, wait and get a plate. You understand what I'm saying? Like that,
Right.
eat while they wait to eat the turkeys and all that. So I'm thinking of adding that. So I'm getting that's crazy. I'm getting on start next week. I'm getting on top of that now. So that's what I think about adding to it.
Out of all of the events that you've done, what have you noticed that people need the most? Now, I want you to think about the whole grand scheme of things: Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, going back to school. Out of all of that, what do you think that people really need the most and that they come to you for?
Hmm. Wow. Christmas and a summer camp.
Mm, why? Why those two? What do you notice
Because
that is
Christmas, let me tell you about Christmas. Christmas, like I said to you earlier, I think about the moms that got the 4 or 5 kids who really try. You understand what I'm saying? And it takes the stress knowing that, hey, I can do this. I don't. You said something earlier, and it don't got to do with the guns, but you was like, some people feel like they got to get out here and do something that they don't want to do. You know, and some parents feel like, okay, with this, I don't got to get out here and try to steal or try to do something during around the holidays and get locked up. I won't be on with my kids. You understand what I'm saying? Like, try to go steal some extra things to make ends meet. So if I know if I got enough, okay, if I got on some clothes, 2 pair of sneaks, and they got 5 toys, I can go down to Mr. Cooley's, possibly get a bike for both of my kids. And I'm already gonna get extra toys, but it'll be a blessing. And one or two of the kids can win an extra bike or even a PlayStation or something. Like that's what I think about with that. That's why I think that's the most important thing, because they can breed like that. For like the book bag drive, everybody does book bag drive. So I feel as though like you understand what I'm saying that yeah, but that's why I think the toy drive is the most important thing. That and I say the summer camp is because I get to work with 100 kids every year for 12 hours a day. You get to build that bond, something you can never forget. That extra you with them
Some
babies for
people
12
can't
hours a day.
some people can't do that. They would literally go crazy with all of these kids. How do you do it?
People people say it to us all the time. Like they say it to my staff all the time. Like, man, I can manage y'all, man. Like y'all look forward to it. Like we look forward to that. And like that's why I'm now no disrespect, but that's why I'm trying to get away from the state and just try to get the proper funding where I can just keep them all year. Because with the state, you just got to go through so much. And like we don't got time to be waiting. Y'all trying to do that. These babies need it now. Like we don't got time to be waiting. Like parents gotta go come sit out of work to do all that virtue stuff. So that bond you get to build with them kids for those 80-something days of the summer, 12-hour days you with them. Yeah, they get on your nerves, but they gonna be kids. That bond, that's just something that you look for. You can't describe it, man, because you become like you keep, like in a parent. I love the parent. Like you become like that father figure. You become like the big brother, the big sister. I look at it, I don't consider us a summer camp. We're not a summer camp. We're not a summer camp. I don't consider it. I tell people we're a family. We're not a summer camp. We're a big family. That's what I look at it. We
What is what's the age group of
and
some
that's
of the
why people
kids?
say that summer camp different because 5 to 13,
Okay, okay. So that's
5 to 13.
actually just
So the
5 to 13 is just what 1 year younger than you were when you were in that incident where you got shot at 14 years old. So to look at
right,
these kids
right.
and be able to give back to them, tell me what is a piece of advice that you would give to 14-year-old Ladaye Cooley Johnson?
Let me
Someone
tell
that
you
may show up
this.
to your summer camp.
This is my big. This is my big. And some of them are getting like this is one thing we always stress. There's nothing wrong with being different. Nothing wrong with being different. And that's the problem that this generation fight. They don't know how to separate. They think being different is whack. Being a follower, that's what happened to me when I got shot. I wanted to go to a party I wasn't supposed to. I wanted to follow the older. I wanted to be down and didn't want to listen. I wanted to be a follower that night, and that's what happened. And then I always try to tell people there's nothing wrong with being different. Like I said earlier, people gonna respect you more being yourself. And that's the biggest thing we stress. There's nothing wrong with being different.
Yeah. You're able to look in hindsight now at the person that you were, so many years ago, and now you've made it to this point in your life. But if you were to talk to your future self, the person that you're working on and working towards becoming, what would you say to that person if he was in a moment where he felt like giving up? This is now Cooley in the future, and you need some words of encouragement. What would you give to yourself? What would you say to yourself?
It's not what I say to myself. I go look at that one picture every day. I go look at that one picture every day. Every day, I go look at that one picture. For all the people going, I look at that picture and I look at the summer camp picture I got. And that's two things I always say. I can't because Cooley give up, then they gonna think it's cool to give up when times get hard.
What are some things that people can now look forward to in the next coming months that you have up your sleeve? We talked about the Thanksgiving drive, but anything happening for Christmas and then moving into 2021? Oh my God, the year is moving too fast.
Well, the Christmas thing, we ready to go for some that up the number. It's 20,000 toys this year, so because it's the 10th
Yeah.
annual. So yeah, so a couple people asked me already, like, "Yo, what do you got in your mind for toys?" I'm like 20,000. They're like, "Cool, 20,000 toys." Like, hey, maybe we're gonna go for it. 20,000 toys, about 300 bikes. That's the actual goal. So that's what's coming up on the toy drive. So we basically are promoting all that now, and I think we can do it. I mean, my thing is this year, I hope each kid can get 10 toys each. That's the ultimate goal. Get 10 toys. Come on, go. You know,
Are you already
so
accepting donations and asking people donate?
I'm great start. I'm great start promoting that next week. I'm gonna get the flyers done, so we get out there now. I tell people they can donate these. Donate money can go in my I got a website www.coolshoesinc.com. They can donate on there through PayPal or whatever. So that's what we great start going.
I'm gonna have you say that one more time, Cooley, because it's glitching. There it goes. So once it comes back, just repeat that one more time for me.
Yeah, like I said, we're doing the goal is 20,000 tours this year, about 250 bikes. That's the ultimate goal. And I'm going to get the flyer done, have it out by next week. If you would like to donate, I got a website page. I want people to go on www.coolshoesinc.com and you can donate right through the. I got a page. It's set up on there. You can just donate, and it goes right into the fund thing. So we can try to get it going.
And how can people keep up with you in case they want to see your social media, see what else you have going on throughout the year? How can people keep up with you?
Well, like I said, they can go on. Got to upgrade. Now it's that time of the year. We update the now summer camp over and stuff. Like I said, working on the virtual stuff, but we get the kids going with that. But we get that. Before it's like events, like a lot of people say, we update the. I'm gonna update the website next week. Got the summer camp stuff over. Put the event and stuff on there. Keep everybody what's going on. They can follow me on Facebook at I got a Facebook at Cool Shoes Inc. on Facebook or Ladaye Johnson. You can go on Instagram and follow me at Cooley_12 or Cool Shoes Inc. on Facebook. So it could be on there. But you can follow me on there. But mainly they can follow me on Instagram. I mainly follow Cooley_12 and on Facebook, Ladaye Johnson.
Nice. Well, again, congratulations on that national award. Oh my goodness. Again, I was thinking that we were still waiting to get the results in. So it's a big deal that I now know on the show that you're the winner of the 2020 Jefferson Awards. So that's so
That,
cool.
that's what they, that's how I got the medal. That was the medal. It got delivered Friday. It
Nice.
was Thursday. We watched it Thursday, and I had got it Friday. And then the day I had one of their regional. They gave me a regional one today too.
Amazing.
So
Amazing. Well, you already know I appreciate you. Love the work that you're doing, and I'm going to continue to support. So thank you again for coming on Up with India. And yeah, we're all done.
thank you. I appreciate it.
And thank you everyone for watching this episode. Again, if you want to keep up with Cooley and see all of the cool things that he has going on with the Cool Shoes Inc., make sure to follow him on the social media pages that he listed. And you guys can continue watching Up with India here at WITN 22 Wilm. That's at WITN 22 Wilm. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.